Yeah, so tell us, Jeff, more about the storage, the extra storage capacity in the roots, and what's the advantage of that?
Well, it's common knowledge, the bigger the root mass and the active the root mass is, the bigger the ability to store energy. These plants are all about energy. So the more energy they can store, so the more root mass, where we've got a cluster in a very confined area, so the size of a 50-cent piece in that area, if that shuts down a whole section of the plant. In this area here, we've got that elongation. It might not look like it, we've actually got more lateral feeding roots going over a longer period of time. They're away from, they're not in one clumped area, which means you now have, because of the compost, we have a more active surface area. So we've got a square metre versus probably only 50 mils. And the roots will always grow where the activity is. So if the activity happens to be right there, if you notice it was right on the side of the rock where the water's pooled and everything was there, as this one, getting back to where the water spread goes, we've got this length that grows out. Now it shows in the canopy. So when you've got more root extension, and this is a classic example, both these plants are similar. We have some quite nice shoots, they're coming up here, growing along. On this side, we have a variation in shoots. So we've got a lot of small ones and coming through, and some down here. It's not out of balance, it hasn't got enough boogie to keep the energy going. So what the plant does is it relies on the dominant ones and the ones that are at the top, the ones that are growing, and where the tip goes, versus this one here where you've got more of an even, you've still got your one dominant growing top, but the rest are more consistent coming through. And leaf size. So we've got bigger leaf size, we've got thicker coticals on them, so the leaf's actually thicker. And that all relates back to you've got more energy to play with. So when it gets hot and when it gets dry, this plant will still suffer from the heat, but it will recover faster and replace that energy. This one will collapse from the heat or go down with the heat, but will take longer to recover, so more energy is lost. So over time, it gets weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. Whereas here, over time, this will try to say consistent to do the same thing because it's got the root mass to handle it. Yep. Yep. If you look at it from a biological point of view, because of the organic matter and the sites and what these guys are doing, because they're trying to maintain their soils, there's 1 million microbes working in that 1 square centimetre, and there's probably only 500 working in that 1 square centimetre. And they only work there because there's not enough root mass, the plant's not sending any exudates out, so everything slows down. Here, there's more working because there's more spaces, there's more stuff to work with, there's more organic content, there's more nutritional holding and water holding capacity, so we can build a population. So the only difference is, on this side here we've got Auckland City, and on that side there we've got Renwick. Right? Not because they don't want to live there, it's just that there's not as much, everyone wants the high life, and same thing. So the conditions are conducive to good soil activity versus not.
Very good, very interesting.